Now, what are we going to be learning about this week? Well, today we've got a session which I'm really excited about, where we're going to be learning about creating poetry to tackle waste. And we've got a really lovely guest who is going to be joining us today. Tomorrow, we're going to be learning about tidying up our digital environment. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be following the story and the journey of a crisp packet. Thursday, we're going to be thinking about working with our communities to tackle litter and waste. And then, as always, on Friday, we're going to have an assembly where we'll get to share all of the amazing work that you've been doing over this week. But to begin with today, we're going to have a little quiz with some questions. So get your thinking caps on. These are questions to find out how much you know about litter and waste. And the first question is, how many people in your class, so how many students, how many pupils have heard of something called the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child? We can shorten that to the UNCRC. So pupils, I'd like you to put your hands up if you've heard of this before, and then teachers, if no one's put their hands up, then please put A in the chat. If less than half have put their hands up, please put B in the chat. If more than half have put their hands up, then please put C in the chat. And if everyone has put their hands up, then please put D in the chat. Seeing lots of answers come in so far, and we've got the vast majority is the letter D, and then I think we've got one C and one A as well. When I was a child, when I was at school, I would have been an A as well. I didn't know about this, but thank you for sharing all of your answers. So the UN Convention on the Rights of a Child, or the UNCRC, it's an important legally binding agreement signed by 196 countries as of 2 years ago, which outlines the fundamental rights of every child, regardless of their race, religion, or abilities. So it's a really important agreement that's been signed up to by 196 countries, including ours. Okay, follow-up question. True or false? Does litter affect your rights under this convention, under the UN Convention on the Rights of a Child? Hands up if you think it's true that litter does affect your rights, and hands on your head for false if you don't think it affects your rights. And teachers, if you can just write true or false based on what most students in your class are saying. What do we think? We've got lots of answers coming in. We've got a bit of a mixture, but I think most people are leaning towards true. And if you said true, then yes, you are correct. So it does. So litter particularly affects your right to a clean environment as part of your right to health. So we all have a right to have a healthy life, and litter can impact that by impacting our environment. And it also can affect your right to relax and play as part of your right to leisure, play, and culture. So there's two ways that litter can impact our rights under this UN Convention on the Rights of a Child. Okay, next question. How many tons of litter were collected during spring clean last year? Put 2 hands up if you think it was 247 tons. Put 1 hand up if you think it was 347 tons. And put hands on your head if you think it was 447 tons of litter were collected last year. What do we think? Answers are pouring in. And again, a mixture, but there looks like, to me, there looks like there's one that seems to be more popular. Mrs. Connell's class have kind of summed up. There's a mix, but most are saying 447, and you are bang on. So 447 tons of litter, and that's equivalent to approximately 3 blue whales. So by taking part in Spring Clean and helping to clean up our environment, you are protecting your rights and the rights of other young people underneath that UN convention. So it's really important that we try and remove the litter from our local area and from our environment. And this week, we want you to help us Spring Clean Scotland. So to do this, we want you to find a local place to look after for this week and hopefully for longer. And we want you to think about how you want to look after it. We want you to take a photo of your adopted place and send the photo to us, telling us why you think it's important to keep it beautiful. And you can submit it to our competition. And all photos submitted by 2 p.m. on Thursday will be included in our assembly on Friday. And your photo could end up in our Keep Scotland Beautiful calendar, as well as winning you £25. So Spring Clean your adopted place and surrounding area by organising a litter pick. And we want you to record how many bags of litter you collect, and then you can enter our Litter League. And whichever school collects the most litter will be crowned either the regional or even the national Litter League champions. And full details of this resource can be found on our webpage. And last year's National Litter League champions were Hilltop Primary School from North Lanarkshire. And here's a photo of them with all of the bags of litter that they collected. So let's see if you can collect this many bags of litter or even more for this year's Spring Clean. Okay. It's almost time to meet our exciting guest speaker. Make sure that you have a paper and pen or pencil ready in case you need them during the lesson. You may not need them, but it's better to be prepared just in case. So I'll just give you 30 seconds to make sure that you have access to a pen and paper or a pencil and paper. Okay, hopefully some of you have got access to this now. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to learn how we can express our thoughts and ideas using poetry. We're then going to be thinking about how we can use poetry to spread a message and how to create a poem that reuses its own lines. And I absolutely love poetry, so I'm really excited about this session today. And I'm even more excited because we are joined by the wonderful Joseph Coelho, who's going to be working with you this morning. And Joseph is a children's author, a poet, and a playwright. And he's also the Waterstones Children's Laureate for 2022 to 2024. So he's perfectly placed to help us with this. And a big, massive thank you to Joseph for joining us today, and also to our friends from the Scottish Friendly Children's Book Tour and the Scottish Book Trust for helping make this happen. So that's going to be it from me for the first half of this session, and I'll be joining us back at the very end. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to hand over to Joseph to take over for the rest of the session. I'll see you all later.
Thank you so much, Josh, and hello everyone. It's so lovely to be joining you all today. I'm very much looking forward to sharing some ways that we can use poetry to think about recycling and making the planet a better place. And as Josh said, yes, we're going to be looking at some villanelles, which is a poetic form that reuses its lines. I thought that would be the perfect form to write a poem all about recycling. So before we start, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I became a writer, just very briefly, and then we're going to do some writing exercises that will gently lead us in to the villanelle. Excellent. Okay, so I write lots of different kinds of books. So I've been writing books for about 10, 11 years now, but I've been writing for about 20 odd years, and I've been published into lots of different languages all over the world. And like lots of writers, I started out writing individual poems for anthologies. So any writers out there that want to get started as a writer, you can often start by writing an individual poem for an anthology. An anthology is a book with lots of poems by lots of different authors or poets. And for me, writing all started when I was a kid. When I was your age and younger, I was observing the world around me. So you can see me here on my estate with my football. And it was a very concrete estate, but there was lots of grass, lots of trees. I used to love playing outside and exploring the wilderness, getting ideas that quite literally went on to become poems and stories and books. As I got older, I continued to enjoy the great outdoors. And here I'm about 12 or 13, and I'm pretending to be a dinosaur because this was when the very first Jurassic Park came out. If you ask your teachers or your adults at home, I'm sure they will remember pulling up their trouser legs and doing dinosaur legs when Jurassic Park first came out. I got lots of ideas whilst messing about outside. I took those ideas back to the classroom, just like you guys are today. And I started to write poems and stories, probably destined for the very blank display board you can see behind me there. This is the block of flats I grew up in, Binley House. And what I loved about it was the height, because I could see for miles. I could see the tops of trees and bushes, and I would look down on the landscape, getting ideas that later on became stories and poems and books. That led me to starting to perform poems out loud, and sometimes I would even get paid performing my poetry on all sorts of different subjects. Sometimes I would get paid 50 whole pounds to perform my poetry. That led to me writing plays, which led to me writing a little bit for TV, which led to me becoming the Waterstones Children's Laureate. And as Children's Laureate, I got to do lots of fun things. I got to represent the UK abroad. I got to interview the Queen, and I met the King. And I got to do lots of different projects like Bookmaker Like You, showcasing lots of different writers and illustrators, and to join lots and lots of libraries. I hope you guys have all joined your local libraries, because I've joined a library in every library authority in the UK. So that's 217 library cards that I have. You can see some of them there. And I joined some of those libraries by bike, a bamboo bike that I made out of bamboo. And you can see me making the bike there out of big sticks of bamboo, which in its way was its own sort of recycling. I wanted to do that to reduce my carbon footprint whilst I was visiting all these libraries, so that I wasn't burning lots of carbon. And I managed to cycle that 170 miles. And I also started an online series called the Poetry Prompts, where we've got lots of videos that are totally free to use, teachers, over on my website and accessible via YouTube and on the Book Trust website as well. There's 80 videos, each showing you a fun way to write a poem. And you might have actually already seen one, because there's a video with Connie Huck from Blue Peter fame, where we write on old CDs. So we recycle old CDs and we write poems about recycling. So some of you may have already seen that. And if not, you can check out the video. It's totally free, and you can have a go at writing your own poems on a CD. And for teachers, there's a link there for where you can get more information about the poetry prompts and indeed download a free resource that links into the curriculum if you wanted to take any of those poetry ideas further. But without further ado, we're going to jump into poetry. So I've written lots and lots of different poetry books over the years, and lots of the things I'll be sharing with you are in many of these books. The first thing we're going to do is to create some one-word poems about recycling to get us warmed up before we do our villanelle when we start recycling poems, recycling lines into a poem. So I've got a one-word poem here. Here's the title for the one-word poem: The Surprising Thing I Found in the Recycling Bin. And what I need from you guys via the chat is one word that you think could work with this long title. One word that could work with this long title. You can pop them in the chat. What one word could work with this long title? The Surprising Thing I Found in the Recycling Bin. So the first up from Miss Bromley's class, we've got raccoon. And from Miss Ross's class, we've got apple. Yeah, I think a raccoon would be a very unusual thing. Cat. Found a cat in the recycling bin in Miss Beaton's class, and Miss Gray's class also said cat as well. Banana. Banana from Miss Padkin's class, and from Miss Yule's class. Eye. Oh, that's a bit spooky. An eye. Oh. We've got a fox from Mrs. Connell's class. An iron brew bottle from Miss Padkin's class. Iron brew bottle. That's 3 words, but you know what? You can write a 3-word poem. That's absolutely fine. Frog spew. That's two words. In Miss Gray's class, dinosaur from Miss Hollywood's class, and a deer and bottles. Excellent, lots of very lovely ideas. I think any of those could work. Oh, we've got pig from Miss Connell's class. I think any of those could work, including bamboo and caterpillar. I went with chicken, but everything you guys said could absolutely work. We've got more coming in. We've got laptop, butterflies, cans, fish tins, fish bins, a person, money, caterpillar. Excellent. Right, I'm going to throw another one at you. Here's another one-word poem. The day I recycled the wrong thing. The day I recycled the wrong thing. What one word could work for that? The day I recycled the wrong thing. What one word could work for the day I recycled the wrong thing? Disaster. Excellent. That could totally work. Disaster. As from Mrs. Dawson's class. From Miss Yule's class, we've got can. From Miss Beaton's class, silly. Mrs. Dean's class, mistake. And cat again. You guys like cats and recycling bins, don't you? From Mrs. Brown's class and Miss Beaton's class. Miss Padkin's class, we've got wrong. That could work. Miss Beaton's class, crazy. The day I recycled the wrong thing, crazy. The day I recycled the wrong thing, stupid. The day I recycled the wrong thing, hair. Well, that's a bit creepy. Miss Mitchell's class, that's very creepy. The day I recycled the wrong thing, key card. Gosh, yes, and you'd be locked out of your building. The day I recycled the wrong thing, elephant. There's a story there, Miss Brown's class. The day I recycled an elephant, I wonder what an elephant would become. My baby sister. That's a 3-word poem right there. My baby sister. But that's quite close to what I went with. I went with brother. The day I recycled the wrong thing, brother. So all those wonderful ideas could totally work. Right, we're going to try one more one-word poem. The plastic was melted down into a new thing. The plastic was melted down into a new thing. What new thing do you think the plastic could be melted down into? Iron. Oh, that's very unusual, Miss Padkin's class. Cheese. Plastic cheese from Miss Yule's class. For Miss Kirk's class, tissue. Nice. Miss Beaton's class, marble. That's quite interesting because when you, I don't know if you've seen recycled plastic, but when it's all melted down, it does look a bit like marble, doesn't it? Burger. Ugh. Disgusting, Miss Yule's class. Cake we've got from, who's that, Miss Gray's class. We've got glass, we've got unicorn. Statues, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Make some plastic statues. Liquid. Yes, I guess on the picture, it looks all very liquidy there, doesn't it, from the melting. Well, okay, Miss Ross's class, she went with monster. I went with monster too. Great minds think alike. Excellent, you guys are very good at one-word poems. Now, I'm going to give you an extra challenge now. Can you make up your own long title for a one-word poem about recycling? Your own long title for a one-word poem about recycling. If you've got your paper and pens, you can write this long title down on your paper now, and teachers, maybe you could select some to put onto the chat. We want a long title about recycling. I can almost feel you manically writing down. I feel like I can see the steam coming off the pencils. Oh, we've got our first one in. The bin of dangerous litter from Mrs. Connell's class. Excellent. The bin of dangerous litter. I wonder what the one word could go with that. The bin of dangerous litter. One word might be run. From Miss Patkin's class. The day I recycled the right thing. That's a nice long title. The day I recycled the right thing. And for that, you could have, maybe you could have anger. That could be interesting, isn't it? The day I recycled the right thing. Anger, maybe you recycled your anger into something nice. Or the day I recycled the right thing, and it might be PET for the plastic bottles that are made of PET. The day my mum recycled me. The day my mum recycled me. What one word would we have for that? That time the recycling bin broke. Excellent. The recycling mayhem. That sounds like a whole story, doesn't it? The day the rubbish overflowed. Oh, the day the rubbish overflowed from Miss Yule's class, I would go with stink. The day recycling ended. Oh, wouldn't that be nice, isn't it? If we had systems set up that we wouldn't need to recycle anymore because everything was in a closed loop. The bin that I shouldn't have emptied. The bin that I shouldn't have emptied. What was in the bin that you shouldn't have emptied, Mrs. Dean's class? That's a brilliant title. Really gets you thinking. Paper, you move with the wind, Mrs. Connell's class. That's a really poetic long title. Paper, you move with the wind. Maybe the one word could be flow or dance. The one word could be dance, couldn't it? Miss Roberts' class. I accidentally recycled ... I accidentally recycled dog. Give me one word. Brother, sister, mum. The time my hamster ate the bin. Gosh, for Miss Gray's class, the time my hamster ate the bin. What one word could we have for that? We could have full, we could have large, we could have ache. Maybe this hamster's got a tummy ache. The day I threw away my recycling bin for Miss Brown's class. Very good. These are really fantastic long titles for your own one-word poems. Now, maybe you can start thinking about individual words to put on those one-word poems. And if you put them all together, all the one-word poems that you've created in your class, then you can make a really long poem all about recycling, where you've got long title, one word, long title, one word, long title, one word. And in a way, that's kind of like recycling as well. We're taking what was originally a one-word poem and then turning it into something new, a long class poem. But that's something you can continue on at your own time, because we are going to now get into villanelles, this wonderful form. Now, the villanelle is a form that takes repeated lines. And I'm going to show you a villanelle on the screen. Now, this is a villanelle that I wrote called Waiting. And you can see it up on the screen here. And I'm going to just read it to you first of all. There's lots of different colours and lots of notations. Don't worry. We're going to go through it slowly. I'm just going to read it to you first of all. This is a poem from a verse novel of mine where a girl gets trapped in a forest and where an evil squirrel wants to transform her into a tree. And this evil squirrel has told her to wait in the forest for his return. So it goes like this. I'm told to wait, and wait I will. I am pacing a mildewed forest floor, waiting for spring. This tree slow patience takes deathly skill. I'm a bramble of fidgets, a girl-shaped ant hill, my hopes tied with matted fur string. I'm told to wait, and wait I will. My eyes search the canopy, in vain taking their fill. Of dreams my expectations ring, this tree slow patience takes deathly skill. I want to act, shout and scream, I want to overspill, to show the twisting vines I am action's offspring. But I'm told to wait, and wait I will. I'm feeding hours into time's sawmill. Doubt unfurls, distrust becomes a sapling. This tree slow patience takes deathly skill. My fidgets are blooming, I won't sit still. I must choose my own song to sing. For now, I'm told to wait, and wait I will. Tree slow patience takes deftly skill. Now you might have noticed in that poem that some of the lines repeat. And if you look closely at the colours, all the green lines are repeated and all the red lines are repeated. And that's what makes this a villanelle. And if you notice the notations on the side, some of the lines have labels. So the first line is called A1. And if you look down the poem, every A1 line, capital A and a 1, are exactly the same. This A1 line is exactly the same as this A1 line. And then we've got the A2 lines that are in red. This A2 line is exactly the same as this A2 line, which is exactly the same as this A2 line, which is almost exactly the same as this A2 line. And then we've got the little a's and the little b's. And the little a's and the little b's show that little a's rhyme with big A's and little b's rhyme together. So all the A lines, whether they're capital A or little a, they all rhyme together, and all the B lines all rhyme together. So if we look at A1, it ends in will. A2 ends in skill, they rhyme. We've got a little A line here that ends in anthill. So we've got will, skill, anthill. They all rhyme. And then all the B lines rhyme. This first B ends in spring, and that rhymes with string, which rhymes with ring, which rhymes with offspring, which rhymes with sapling. So that's what makes it a villanelle. And we're going to slowly build up our very own villanelle using some lines. And this is where I need your help. Now, we've got the structure, and I've already put into that structure our A1 and our A2 lines, all about recycling. But I need your help filling in the gaps. So we've got our A1 line. Our A1 line is recycling is a wonderful thing. And the A2 line in red is let's stop rubbish going into the bin. So we've got thing and bin because they're both A lines and they rhyme. And if we take that further, if I take those lines that repeat and fill out the rest of the poem, gosh, look, lots of the poem's already done. We've got lots of our lines already in our poem. And I've put on the side here lots of words that rhyme to help us come up with some lines that rhyme for the A lines. But we'll get to that in a bit. First of all, here's why I need your help. We need a line for this gap here. It's a B line. So we need to think of a line, and then that's going to determine what rhyme we're going to use for the other B lines. So the first line is recycling is a wonderful thing. Then there's a gap. And then the third line is let's stop rubbish going into the bin. Can anyone give me a line that goes in the middle here? I need a few ideas for different lines that could go in the middle. Don't worry about the rhyme because we will determine the rhyme once we've got the line, if that makes sense. So I need a line. It doesn't need to rhyme with thing or bin. It can be any line that doesn't rhyme, in fact, with thing or bin. I just need a line that can go in this gap here. Can anyone give me a line that can go in this gap here? Recycling is a wonderful thing. Blah, 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 blah. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. Ah, cool. So I see we've got a lot coming in now. So do it every day. That could work quite well. Recycling is a wonderful thing. So do it every day. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. That could work really well. We must take care of nature was another idea. Excellent. That could work as well. Recycling is a wonderful thing. We must take care of nature. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. That could work for Miss Bromley's class. Like the wrapper of a chocolate bar. Recycling is a wonderful thing. Like the wrapper of a chocolate bar. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. That could work as well. But you know what, guys? I'm going to go with so do it every day because I think we'll find lots of lovely rhymes for day, like pay and weigh and say. So I'm going to have to just switch out of that view because it doesn't let me make amendments. And hopefully you can you still see my screen? Or has it disappeared now?
We can still see you, Joseph, but we can't see the presentation.
Okay, let me just get that back up for you. So hopefully you can see that now. Excellent. Right, so I'm going to put that in here. So do it. So do it every day. Now, because we've got day, all the other B lines will need to rhyme with day. So before we go any further, let's put lots of different words that rhyme with the word day. I've put day in this. Say, can you give me any more that rhyme with day? Say, pay, any others? Words that rhyme with day. Oh, excellent. We've got stay, we've got play, we've got pray. Oh, this is pretty, gosh, I just do this every time I write. It's really helpful. Slay, slay, tray, clay. I've destroyed a pottery course, so I like clay a lot. Decay, fantastic. Away, wonderful work, guy. Way, nice. I like how you're thinking there, because that's not an obvious one, is it? Grey. Hey, gosh, these are brilliant. Hooray! Hooray! Excellent, excellent. So, maybe I can make that a bit bigger. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Let's make that a little bit bigger for you. Excellent. Oh, chicken fillet. I have to add that because that's genius. Chicken fillet. Array. Right. Lots of brilliant sway. Lots of brilliant ideas. Okay. So now we've got lots of rhyming words. This is going to help us do our other B lines. Okay. So we're now going to go on to the next verse. The first line in the second verse is an A line. So it has to rhyme with thing and bin. And I've done the rhymes for you on this side. Can anyone give me a line about recycling that uses one of these A rhymes? Or if you can think of another A rhyme, that's absolutely fine as well. I just need one line about recycling that can go in this spot here. Recycling is a wonderful thing, so do it every day. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. Now I need another line that ends in a rhyme a rhyme that works with thing or bin or whim. In the bin we put our tin. It always makes us grin. I'm gonna go with that. It always makes us grin. Wonderful work. Whose was that? That was Dr. Connor's class. Fantastic. Now we're onto a B line. So we've got our B rhymes. I need a line that ends in one of these words, or if you can think of another B rhyme to end in that's not on the screen, that's fine as well. I need a B rhyming line, a B rhyming line. So it's got to end in day, say, pay, stay. So we want to go and play. It always makes us grin. So we want to go and play. Just let me say. Recycling is that would work with it. Just let me say. Just let me say. Fantastic. Well, who's that? Miss Ross's class. Excellent. You're getting this for now. Wonderfully. Now we're on to the third stanza, which is an A line. An A line. So an A line is got to end in one of these A rhymes, or another word, if you can think of another word that rhymes with these A rhymes. So I need another line, an A line. Por favor. Actually, we've got that. Oh, cool. There's more that's come in. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. And we've got not recycling is a horrible. Oh, so we've got two classes going with sin there. Let's go with Miss Yule's class. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. Excellent work. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. It would be a sin. Fantastic work. Fantastic work. And we had put the things in the bin for Mr. Brown's class. Brilliant. Now we need another B line. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. A B line ends in one of these rhymes, or another word that's not on the screen that rhymes with day or sway or okay. Actually, you know what? We had some. We did have some from before, didn't we? From Mrs. Dean's class. And shout out hooray, would that work? If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. And shout out hooray, maybe not that. So we want to go and play. We could have that. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. So we want to go and play. Let's put rubbish far, far away. Miss Ross's class, let's use that. Let's put rubbish far away. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. Excellent work. And we need another A line. An A line over here. An A line ending in sin or win. So far we've got recycling is a wonderful thing, so do it every day. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. It always makes us grin. Just let me say, recycling is a wonderful thing. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. Let's put our rubbish far away. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. To do it is to slay. Miss Bromley's class, I like that. oh, that's a B line, isn't it? We need an A rhyme. We need an A rhyme. We've got if we don't recycle, we won't win, for Mr. Roberts. If we don't recycle, we won't win. And I'm going to put one of the B lines, because we had quite a few B lines. If we don't recycle, we won't win. We want to do it every day for Miss Mitchell's class. We want to do it every day. Excellent work. Another A line. Can I nick an A line from one that's already been done? We've got don't recycle on a whim. That's nice, from Miss Patkin's class. Don't recycle on a whim. Fantastic. And we need a B line. We need a B line. Do it as you sing. Don't recycle on a whim. Do it as you sing. Who was that from? That was from Mrs. Dawson's class. Gosh, we're getting to the end. Need an A line, so win, sin, throw it in with my chicken wing. Throw it in with my chicken wing. Wing, that could work really well, couldn't it? So that's from Dr. Connor's class. Throw it in with my chicken wing. And then a B line here. Before the flowers decay, if you don't stuff in the bin, it will go on. It will go in the bay. Nice. Before all the flowers decay, throw it in with my chicken wing. Before all the flowers decay. Nice. Before all the flowers decay. Recycling is a wonderful thing. Let's stop our rubbish going into the bin. Right. So let me do that nice and large so you can see it, your wonderful lines. Thank you so much for all those wonderful suggestions. I had to rush a bit quickly because I'm aware of time, but all your suggestions have gone into making this villain out, and it goes like this. Maybe you guys can repeat each line after me. Recycling is a wonderful thing, so do it every day. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. It always makes us grin. Just let me say, recycling is a wonderful thing. If we don't recycle, it would be a sin. Let's put rubbish far away. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. If we don't recycle, we won't win. We want to do it every day. Recycling is a wonderful thing. Don't recycle on a whim. Do it as you sing. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. Throw it in with my chicken wing. Before all the flowers decay. Recycling is a wonderful thing. Let's stop rubbish going into the bin. Whew. I'm spot on, 10 past. So well done. Take a screenshot if you want to keep that poem. I think that's a really wonderful villanelle. And maybe if you do take a screenshot, we could see this as your first draft. And maybe in your classes, you could edit it, take bits out, change bits around. You could even change the end rhymes. As long as you keep that structure, you can change the rhyming lines to make them your own. And then maybe each class can have their very own recycling poem. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. That was absolutely incredible. I mean, I've never seen a poem created like that before, and I was absolutely swept away by it. So thank you so much. And as you can see, coming in the chat, all of our students joining us have had a really good time. So yeah, just a big thank you from all of us, Joseph, for that brilliant session. I will just begin sharing my slide just for the final few things to go through today. So just bear with me. All of the resources that Joseph was talking about, you will be able to access them through the resources that we're sharing with you. So you can go to all of those great places that he was talking about. I've seen loads of people saying they can't wait to start making their own poems, and they really enjoyed making the poem. Yeah, like I said, I was swept away by that. So we really hope that you feel inspired by today's lesson. I certainly was. And we would like you to use what you've learned to write your own poems. And there is a resource available on our website to help you with this. And that links to one of Joseph's amazing poetry prompt videos. And my colleague Nicholas just shared the link there in the chat. As always, we'll be looking forward to seeing all of your amazing work, including your poems during the week, and to showcase all of that work during Friday's assembly. So please make sure all of the work is sent in by 2 p.m. on Thursday if you would like it to be included in our Friday assembly. And please share anything that you're doing for Spring Clean Week on social media, and we will share your posts from public accounts at our assembly. As always, we really value your feedback on our live lessons. So my colleague Nicholas is going to share a link to a very short feedback form for you to tell us what you enjoyed and what you'd like to see more of. And there's space for pupils and for teachers in that as well. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a digital spring clean with Yvonne Skipper from the University of Glasgow, and we hope that you can join us there. But that's all from me. Just finally, another massive thank you to Joseph for that incredible session. Thank you for all of the work that you've done, pupils and teachers, in helping create that brilliant poem. We've loved working with you this morning, and we're looking forward to working with you tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you here tomorrow for our next session. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.